Hey everybody, so here is the AMT race car hauler Ford LN8000 with, this is I think the Galaxy Ford Fairlane that we built about 2 years ago in there. And it's on the dirt road that we built as well for this model kit. So if you want to see what this model kit looks like and how to build this for under $10 for the base. So we have the base now and we have the truck, and it took about 3 days to build this, and we'll go ahead and pull the base out here in a minute, but I wanted to show you this is the race car hauler. We do a full build on this, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's the only full build video on YouTube from the box. All right, guys, let's take a closer look at both the background and the truck. All right, everybody, you have seen this model kit, the AMT race car hauler Ford LN8000, on a bunch of channels, but nobody ever builds it. They just open a box or they just show you the kit. So we're going to build it. So let's see what's inside. All right, first, coolest thing with this, it actually comes with drag slicks, white lettered drag slicks that have nothing to do with the model other than they could sit on there. It's pretty cool. Comes with 6, let's see, do they have any markings on them? 6 unmarked tractor trailer tires. So there's 3, 6. Comes with a very small glass area. It just has the side doors or side windows, back window, front window, and lights. 2 little red tail lights. It's got the Ford cab with the one-piece hood. Let's see, you got chrome here. We've got chrome rims with chrome ends for the fuel tanks, and some wheel rim loops at the end there. Let's see, we've got chrome wheels again, bumpers, fuel tanks, mirrors, grill. So there's your chrome. We've got 2 massively huge side pieces. And by the way, in the instructions, it shows you if you wanted to cut open any of these doors, and it shows you how to build the boxes inside or how to open up the doors. And on the inside, for those who like, they're also already pre-etched in here. So if you take your razor blade, you can get any of these doors opened or any of the cargo spaces open. I'm not going to do that, but you could. And then we have, this is still part of the large car carrier part for the back. And we've got exhaust pipes underneath. They're just regular Ford exhausts. They're not going to have the big stacks. Oh, they do have a stack. It is a stack. Okay, here's your interior. There's your dashboards. We've got our frame pieces. We've got our rear axles. There's really not a lot of parts on here compared to a regular tractor trailer model. We've got for the back axle and front axles right there. We've got our engine blocks for the big diesel engine. We've got the floor for the front. We've got 2 seats. Surprised they don't have 3 seats, being it was a race hauler. We'd probably have a second bench seat in there, but it doesn't. We have the interior tub. We have the back plate, which is going to be the front plate right there that goes behind the cab. We have our 2 pieces for our frame because it's an AMT, so we have to build the frame, which is why we're going to be using our mat with all the squares on it, so we're going to make sure that's straight. And then finally, we've got the floor that's got the diamond steel plates where the cars go, but this is going to be the back for the base of the ramp area plus the storage area right there. So we have that, and then it comes with these decals, which are, I believe they're like royal blue. They look black, but they're royal blue. And it only comes with decals for one, well, it has a Mach 1 race team there, and it just has racing team here, not for hire. So if you didn't want to use the Mach 1 race team, you can use these on the doors, or you can make, you know, if you have your own number, you can put the racing team on the door with the number or whatever you want. Anyway, we're going to start putting this together. First thing is, we'll have to figure out the paint. Are we going to paint it white or off-white, or a different color that goes with these blue? Maybe yellow. Yellow would be cool. Anyway, we'll figure this out. We're going to start painting the pieces, and when I come back, we will have the painted pieces. We'll also start putting together. We're not going to paint the frame until it is completely together. So actually, let's build the race box, the race frame, the sub-assembly for the interior. We'll put some sub-assemblies together, then we'll come back, then we'll paint. All right, that's where we're at. All right, see you in a bit. All right, guys, let me show you real quick. This is super easy to put together. Make sure you sand all the edges. If you sand all the edges, it will fit together. This is the whole back piece. It's just a bunch of big square pieces. It goes together really nice. You just need to make sure that you tape all, I built mine on my side like that. It was easier to put it on the side and build it. And just fit every piece first. Make sure you sand all the edges nice and flat so you don't have any bumps, because that way you won't have any gaps. And then I use some blue painter's tape. That's drying. Right now, I'm building the frame, and this is how I do it. I get the pieces and I put them on the instructions here to make sure they're all correct. And I have them all laid out. Then I'll lay them down onto the right side. Then I will glue the left side together, and we will use the lines that are on this mat here that you can get at any hobby store or sewing store. And we will make sure that they are perfectly flat. And to do that, we will also then lay heavy pieces on here. I usually use some of my stands, one of my finger stands that I have there. I'll lay the finger stands on and let that sit overnight, because it really needs to dry flat and perfectly square for everything else to work. And that's where we're all right now. We're about an hour into this into the video. Actually, we're in about 30 seconds, but we're really into about an hour of the build right now. All right, everybody, we're about 3 hours in. We're gonna let everything dry. So the engine is done. So we got the engine done. That took about an hour. Follow the directions. Everything fit really, really well. So we're just gonna let this dry without the only thing I don't have on it is the 2 exhaust pipes and the fan. So we're gonna paint that. I'm not gonna keep chrome on it. It's just an engine for a truck. So we're not gonna keep chrome. And then we put the rear suspension in. So one of the things we do is the first thing you do is you want to make sure you have the metal axle that goes through. So we put the axle together, then we put the metal axle on, then we put the axle through the 2 leaf springs, and then you put the brakes on the outside of once the leaf springs are on. And unlike a lot of tractor trailer models, you know, this one only has 1 set of dualies in the back. So we're going to let this all dry along with the frame. We have that drying back there. Next thing we have to do is put the front suspension on and build the interior. So we're going to let everything dry for a little bit. We've been working on this for about, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And it's just time to let everything dry for a while, and then we'll come back to it all. All right, see you in a bit. Alright guys, so we do have the tub I'm putting the front on here. Now the weird thing is I don't know exactly, because the directions aren't real clear as to where the body mounts will go. I mean, I know they're going to go somewhere on the body, but the 2 mounts I thought they were actually for the engine. We have the front on. Now if you don't like, when you're building these trucks, some people just put the supports for the tanks, they put them onto the tank. I put them onto the frame before I paint the frame, because I just find out that they are a lot stronger. So we have the frame supports there. I have everything ready on the frame. So we let this dry for about 6 hours today, and so the frame is drying. It will be painted tomorrow. When you put the frame together, just be, you know, attendant that you have to put these pins in. Now I glue these pins in, but if you don't put the pins in before you put the calipers on, you're going to be screwed. So make sure you put those in first. This is going to sit up because that is where the body mount is. It's the back body mount, and I think the front body mounts are going to go right in here somewhere. Not really sure. Like I said, it's kind of a little obtuse on, there's a word for you, obtuse, word of the day, for where this actually will sit. But I want to make sure I get the hood and everything on first and see where that sits, because I don't want to have the body sitting way back here and then there's a big giant gap between that and the hood. So we're done for the night. I think we're good. Tomorrow we'll paint the engine. Well, actually, I'll probably primer the engine tonight. I'm just going to paint it a flat black primer. So we'll paint that tonight, flat back primer. Then we will be painting, I think I might paint this truck Ford blue if I don't paint it white, because Ford blue is a light blue. We could still use the dark blue decals on there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I know I'm going to paint that engine Ford blue. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. So that's the black primered engine. So I have a lot of different colors here, and I think this one called Seaside, it's a gloss Seaside from Rust-Oleum. That would look really good with these dark blue, with the dark blue stripes there. I think that's gonna pull it off. Instead of just doing something white, I think doing this a gloss, and it's called Seaside, I think that's the color we're gonna use. All right, so I'm gonna paint the cab that color. 3 big pieces we got to paint right now. So we're going to paint the hood. We just put on the supercharger. I guess it's a supercharger or air cleaner. I don't know what that is. I'm not a truck guy. But we put that on. So now we're going to spray paint these pieces right away. So we'll paint them first. I'm going to primer them first, and then we'll come back and paint them. So we use the flat black primer because it'll highlight a lot of the spaces around the doors and everything. Pretty windy out here today, and I am doing this outside. We'll have to come out later and paint underneath and primer the bottom of that. But other than that, looks like we got almost everything done. So we're good for now. All right, everybody. So let me show you some things we did. So we have the whole suspension and frame together, and we primered that black. We have the cab primered black, and inside we sprayed it this off-white. I'll show you the color that the interior is going to be. There's the dashboard and the steering wheel, not detailed yet. The bottom of the cab is black. And then, I don't know if we'll paint that yet, because usually I like to keep them black. Here is actually the hood, and that is the color that we will be painting it. This is the color I showed you earlier, and that'll look really good with those dark blue decals. That's the engine. That's actually Ford blue. I paint it with engine paint. It's Ford blue engine paint. And then we have the part of the ramp truck, the hauler area in the back, which currently is primered black. So we're going to let all this dry, as well as some of the other pieces here. It's going to dry overnight. We've got the tanks getting put together, and tomorrow we will finish it. So it's really only taken, this is about 5 hours worth of work. So 5 hours including the painting. So not a hard truck to build. You know, it's an AMT tractor trailer, you know, rig with the Ford LN8000 chassis, but it's a pretty easy model so far. And so we will see you in the morning. Let all this stuff dry, get really hard. Tomorrow we'll paint because it's raining out a little bit, and I do not like painting in the rain. All right, see you in the morning. All right, guys, did the mock-up to make sure that all the tires and everything are where they're supposed to be. So there's the mock-up of it on the frame, and I think it fits. So I'm pretty happy it fits. So we'll be doing some painting and everything else tomorrow once the rain leaves. One of the things you want to do before you put the tires or wheels together is you want to sand the chrome off. So it's easiest to just leave these trim rings on and just sand this side, get those off, and then the back rims are going to connect right here. So you want to make sure that you sanded the chrome off, because the chrome plating really does block adhesion. So especially because these wheels are going to be sitting like this in the back. So just a friendly reminder, whenever you have chrome, make sure you sand it, to that way it glues together better. We sanded, when we glued these together, we sanded the chrome off any of the glue spaces. So then we have right here, we have our engine in, and it's just sitting there, but you can definitely see, if you build this, since it really doesn't show where the body mounts, after trial and error here, fit right behind where the motor mount, and there is a marking. See the marking right here for the motor mounts? There's like 2 tabs that the motor mount sits between. Right past there is where the body mount should be. It doesn't really show that in the directions. Also, I had to cut off about almost, I would say, close to an inch of the metal axle to fit this correctly. So that's what I had to do. And I just glue these to the hub. I glue the hubs together on the metal axle because, you know, they were designed at the time where you don't have the little these little whatever hubs or whatever, the little things that stick out to let the wheels move, but I never let these things move because I don't want them rolling off the shelf. Anyway, we're gonna paint the chassis here. Probably just paint it an off gray or granite or something like that. Nothing special, because it is a work truck. It is a work chassis. It'd be the same chassis they use for trash trucks or anything else. So could even paint it red actually, but we're not going to paint it blue because it's not, or white. I mean, it's a chassis that was used for making race car haulers, which were pretty much mostly all custom. So we're just going to paint this, like I said, either gray or something that is just nonchalant. I could paint it red, but I think we'll just maybe go with gray. All right, well, we'll come back when we have more done. All right, I just painted it a sage green, which is a pretty industrial color. I've used it before. So it's a pretty nice color for frames, especially trucks. It's a really nice looking industrial green. It's like a grayish green color. Okay. All right, guys. So we have painted the back part of this carrier, the hauler, race car hauler. Don't do what I did and leave your tire on there, because then I actually painted a tire that was sitting up there. I'll have to repaint that with the rubber black. Next, I'm going to paint the cab. Now, I'm going to do the cab dark blue at the top, which will match these blue stripes right there. And then we will paint the bottom this color blue. So I'm going to go ahead and spray paint this top piece, and the cab, we'll paint that half. And when you do this, remember just to make sure you have holes in the roof, you have holes in the windows. So when you're going to paint a cab, make sure you block all those holes first with tape. It's a lot easier than having to touch it up later. All right, guys, this is the Rust-Oleum gloss navy blue that basically matches the stickers. All right. So paint it over top of this black primer, and that's it. Alright guys, so I painted the rims from silver, from chrome to the light blue for the front, and then we use Mod Podge to put them on, and then these will dry. Now the rear ones, they just get glued together. There is no real rim for them. So anyway, so this, I always like to make the front paint, the rims on the front match the paint.
Spinach, Swiss chard, all of that.
Alright, we're working. Oh, got the engine painted. So waiting for the fan.
Some of the peas.
So those are done. Alright guys, so I am gluing the wheels on. So first set of wheels here. And we'll just leave them on there for about an hour or two. And then we can put the other side on and then leave that dry for an hour or two. All right, everybody, so see the hub there? Once you have that on, there's two hubs. They're on the chrome tree right next to the grill. And we gotta take these two hubs, take them out and put them in there. I'm gonna use Mod Podge to do that. Alright guys, so we put the grill on and we put the lights in, painted them from behind so they match, but we put the light in and then we also put the blower motor there for the air filter. We'll take some access panel line here, some black access panel line, and we're going to fill in the So I did find two gauges, and I can use these two there, and a smaller gauge right there, which I could use over here. So I can use these three gauges for this, so I'll do that. Alright, so we got the dashboard done. So we'll put the interior together now. Alright guys, what we're going to be doing is putting the plastic clear glass in. We always use Mod Podge. We're also going to be putting in the headlights. We use Mod Podge for that. So I'll go ahead and do that. Mod Podge always is clear. We do have our interior done. as much. It's not going to be super detailed, but it looks really nice. And if you look through the windows, you'll be able to see it's got a nice dashboard and seats and stuff. So we're going to put the glass in here. That'll take about an hour, hour and a half to dry. And same with the headlights. And in the meantime, we'll probably glue the fuel tanks on to their where they need to sit right here. All right, so we got one tank sitting there. Gosh, I hope it's in the right spot. We got the glass sitting there. Hopefully that'll all be in the right spot. And then we have the interior drying, and I hope that's all in the right spot. And so hopefully this will all work out here shortly in the end. So anyway, we're going to let this dry for about an hour or two, and then we'll come back, put the other tank on, and hopefully everything will work the way it's supposed to. Okay, so we put the 2 exhaust pipes on, and we now have this gas tank, fuel tank on. We have the other one drying. Then we'll put that one on over there. We did put the interior and firewall together with the cab, so that's drying right now. And we'll come back later. Hey, good morning everybody. It is the morning of day 3. We have about a total of about 8 hours into this build, but with most of these big trucks, you just have to let stuff kind of, you know, has to glue, tires had to glue, tanks had to glue, stuff like that. So, next is the morning of day 3. We have about 8 hours into this build, actually. And the one thing that is the pain in the butt here is that battery box that's there is really in the way. I wonder if I just cut this lip. Maybe I just cut the lip there. Let's see. So this is going to fit like that. So if I cut this lip right there and right there, if I just cut that lip with my modeling saw, right here. Now, cut this lip like that there, and that there. Since I'm not doing anything underneath, I'm not doing the box. I'm not opening these boxes up. So, but I definitely, give me a little bit of play. Trying to put this stuff on can definitely be made easier. Alright, so if I do that, and then should be able to bend this piece out. There we go. Alright. Since someone's going to see it anyway, that makes it a lot easier to go on. There we go. Way easier for fit. Alright. Alright. So that is one. there we go. All right, perfect. Yep, that's perfect right there. And then the cab is going to fit. So now the cab needs to line up more so the hood. So that's going to be like that. See, well, I think I'm going to push the body on first. We'll mount the body, and then once I mount the body, then we can, or the cab. I keep saying the body, but I mean the cab. That fits. So here's the cab mount. There. And there. So that's the cab mounts. Alright. There goes nothing. Let's get this cab mounted. So I think that is where we want the cab to be. Right there. That's where we want it to be. We want it to sit right there. So we're just going to let it sit. We got some good space right behind it. I did notice this seam, the way that came out, and I don't know why that was. We had it taped, but I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. I can actually fill that, because we can take this off and I can fill that with some putty real quick and sand it down and respray. So that's fine. That'll be fine. So, and in the meantime, looks like we've got, well, everything fits the way it's supposed to fit. So I'm pretty happy with it. So we'll just let that sit. And we'll come back to it in a couple hours. So we woke up, it's only 6 a.m. So we are going to let that sit. We'll be back about noon. Alright, so here's the deal, guys. This hood is not even designed to stay on. According to the directions, and they don't give you any kind of hinge. Now, you can make a hinge if you want, but it says you can either glue this on or you can make your own hinge, because they don't include anything. Now, what I could do is glue it on, which I'm not opposed to doing, because if you look through the grill, you can see part of you can see all the cooling area. And if you want to see the engine, if you look underneath there and look up, you can see the engine in there. And since my stuff is basically to be displayed, and I don't really care about whether you can see the engine because I don't ever show it with the hood up, I think I'm just going to go ahead and glue this. So this will be the last moment that you see the engine, and now I'm going to glue this here, and then we will move on from there. So I'm going to glue this, let it sit here for an hour or two, and then I'll get on to putting all the stuff on the truck. We just glued that hood on, so we'll walk away from this and come back and work on it in about 2 hours. So make sure that hood is glued tight. One of the things that's been bothering me about this is this seam just warped. I don't know why. And I'm just going to fill it with some putty. You don't have to do this. I mean, it's up to you. But that seam just drives me nuts. So I'm going to fill it with some putty. I sanded it down, and then I'll sand it back, and we'll repaint this. So that's all I'm going to do is just fill it with some putty here. All right, there we go, right there. So that is now filled, and the two back pieces are filled. That's all. That corner all nice and buttoned up. We also put a seam of, looks like, you know, like it looks like it's welded right up there. So we got that done, and the two back filled in. So it's all good to go now. All good to go now. All right, now that we have this repainted and we have the wall sealed and everything, now I'm just going to be sitting here and we're going to do some light weathering of and detail painting of the bed. I'm not sure if I'll put the decals on before we put the bed on the truck or not, but right now I just want to do some light weathering. So what I did here, hold on. Oops. So I used some blue painter's tape. You fold it in half, cut it into strips, and then curl it up. And these are tie-down straps that we're going to use. We'll put some buckles on the end of those, and you'll see them when they're done, the tie-down straps. But also, one of the other things is, you can see when we go put the glare on there, you can see where the doors are. And the easiest way to do that is just take your X-Acto knife. And that is one of the reasons, if you use a salvage set for your decal set, you put that on, brush while it's still wet, you just take your knife and you just push down into each of the seams, go through several times, and that way the paint goes down into the seams and it looks weathered, and it looks like the doors and all are there, because honestly, you would have that. Okay, so that's where we're at the moment. We have all these on this side. This is just sitting on here. I can lift this off, which I will. So I can lift this off here. There we go. We're still working on it. So we're going to put this American flag that came from a different kit. I'm going to put that right there because it needs to have an American flag. We also have some number 21s from an Olds 442 kit, because you can tell because it says Olds 442 on the license tag. I don't know if I'm going to put them somewhere, but I could. Then we have these blue flames, which are from that 1934 Ford kit, which I might put on the hood or on the truck there. And then the rest of these here are from this kit. They came with the kit, and we're going to do that. And then of course we still have, I have other little things. I have a Ford stickers we're going to put on here. It's a Ford. We've got some more stickers. Here's some Holly, hooker headers, weigh-in intakes, Earls. So we're going to put these on here too, because I mean, instead of having these stickers sitting in boxes, and I literally have a giant box right there of decals, we're going to use a lot of them up on this truck, because hey, race car drivers and little kids love stickers. And so a lot of these trucks, when you see them at the racetrack, they've got stickers all over them. So we're going to put stickers all over them, just like a real truck. All right. So, and then we'll put this together, and we'll finish this, and we still have to put the lights and some railings and stuff over here. Here we can look at real quick. The turn signal lights here need a lot of trimming, and use a drill, or I just use my X-Acto knife to put holes in the fenders to where they go. I think there's holes drilled in there because it did put holes pretty easily. The roof lights, now you saw me put the holes in the roof, but I'll be honest with you, these things here was easier just to cut off the pins and glue them over where the holes were. The air horn has one pin that goes in there. That worked pretty well. And then the side, I don't know if you can see them. Let's see if we can get a different angle here. These side handles here on the sides, there are holes here for them. And the last thing we're putting in is the mirrors. I don't know if I'll do those tonight. Probably do those in the morning. I want to see how they go together. They look like they'll be okay. Maybe we'll just put maybe the big piece on, let that stay overnight. Not sure yet. I'll let you know in a minute. All right, everybody, we got our lights on here, lights there, air conditioning, horn, and we have all the mirrors on. Those mirrors were a pain in the butt, so I kind of just had to put them on the way I felt they could work. So anyway, which is what a lot of these trucks, you know, this would be worked by a race team, so maybe the mirrors are a little messed up or bent, but that's okay. All right, we're gonna finish putting on all the decals, then we'll come back and we'll display the finished vehicle. So these came off that 34 Ford pickup truck that we made into a Coca-Cola pickup truck. So I just think that the flames look perfect there and here. Hey guys, I'm going to use this piece of foam for the display for this truck. So first thing I do is take a bread knife, cut an edge. This will be like the edge of the road here. I'll cut that side, do the same thing, just foam, but you get it. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll put some cobblestone stuff here. I have some, if you saw us build the Speed Shop, I have a bunch of these like gray kind of brick stones that I bought for that off of Amazon. So I'll show you those. And then we're going to paint. We'll put a couple, some vegetation on here. And then we will have us a road that we can put the bigger trucks on when we photograph them. All right, now you can see I basically graded the roadway area with that bread knife and cut the edges so they kind of, you know, they're not going to have straight edges because nature does not have straight edges. Okay. Next, I'm going to take some 80 grit sandpaper and I'm going to sand all this. Then we'll take Mod Podge right here and we will take Mod Podge and we'll seal this up. And then once that dries, we'll go ahead and paint. And I'll show you how we're going to do the road bed. But right now, I'm going to sand it. And then we'll put some Mod Podge on it. If you're going to sand foam, I go outside, I do it over the trash can. Alright, I don't know if you could see. I hope you can. Put some light on here. But as you could see, with this, like the sandpaper, what I did is I was putting all these ruts, you know, like tire ruts, on the roadway. Because this is going to be probably like a dirt road. So we'll put that on. This will be rocks on the outside, but you can really, with 80 grit, go right into here, and it doesn't take long. So if you're on a dirt road, you know, so we can see we have scraper ruts on here. We've got tire ruts in here. Paint some Mod Podge on here that will seal this whole thing up, and then we can paint it, and then there'll be a roadway that we can photograph vehicles on. Okay, so we've made our ruts. As you can see, there's some deep ones in there. Now I watered down the Mod Podge a little bit, and now we're just gonna Mod Podge this so it will seal the styrofoam. But if you don't water it down, it may be too thick and it might fill in all the stuff that you just made, all these grooves and everything. So that's why I water it down. So I have a couple jars of this, and I just, for this particular one, it's a jar that didn't have that much left in it. So I just put some water in it, and we're just going to go with the flow of traffic. And the reason you do this is you don't want to have 80,000 pieces of styrofoam loose and constantly coming off. So go ahead and fill this up in here. And we'll let that dry. Let this dry for like an hour, 2 hours, something like that. There you go, right? Okay. So that'll dry. We'll come out, we'll put another coat on it once it's dry, and then it should be done. When it's drying, I put it up on top of a couple old paint caps from paint cans, the plastic caps, because that way it doesn't stick to the surface that you're painting the glue on. All right, we'll come back in about 30 minutes. I'm also going to use a little bit Drydex spackling, and that will raise the rock a little bit. And the nice thing in Florida is, see all these little pieces of white lime rock that are naturally in this yard? I'm going to put some of those up on this as well. So I'll do that and I'll be back. So I picked out some pieces of limestone, nice boulders that would be on the side of the road. And actually, I think I'll move to make that side. So then we'll have that going like that. There we go. All right, next we're going to put on spackle. All right, so here's our spackle, Drydex spackle. And we can put some of this right where these boulders are going to be. And you try not to, you don't want to get smooth. You don't want to have any smooth areas, because nature is not usually smooth, especially in road building. Alright guys, so an easy way to get, there's two easy ways to get like weeds and stuff. One, cut up a brush, an old paintbrush, which I just did, and we'll use those. Also, just go out to your front yard and go ahead and get a couple pieces of weed that has already dried out and died, and we'll go ahead and put those on here after we paint this. And that will be some of the grass that we're using. We also have these bricks here, right there. You've seen them before, you'll see them again. And floral moss from the store. Okay, so right now, where we're at is you can kind of see the road, and you can see the gullies and stuff. And so this is going to be rock. So we're going to have gray right here. So I left that to be rock. So like it's like a Pennsylvania road. Another thing you can use is sand, real sand. So we're in Florida, so we have a lot of sand in the soil, and you just go out there and you use a sifter and you can sift sand onto the wet paint as well. But realistically, I mean, when you're talking like 1/24 or 1/25 scale, you're not going to see a lot of individual pebbles. You know, I mean, people do it. They even use it, and those pebbles would be like this big. The road would be like, have rocks in it this big. And we're not making a rock road, we're making a dirt road. Yeah, you can put on whatever you want. I'm going to be painting, so I'll be just narrating this later.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to be right now. So, I need a cup. Guys, all right, everybody. So we went and painted a couple different lighter shades of gray on the rock wall that's here. We painted a couple areas of a lighter tan, lighter brown, orangey brown, different shades of browns. We also touched brown up onto the rocks, the dirt onto the rocks. So now we're gonna let this dry again. Then we'll come and we'll do it some more. But it's just a matter of coming through and weathering this and weathering it and weathering it. And we will get over to this side as well. I had to wait for some of the glue to dry over there. But as you can see, then we'll start putting the grasses in along here and along the rocks. So that's where we're at right now. Guys, so now what I did was I came out here with a little strainer, you know, one of the kitchen strainers, and I poured some dirt in it, and it just kept all the dust, like the really, really tiny pebbles, as you can see. Now it's dirt. So now it's a dirt road. So, see? Now you can see the dirt in the dirt road. But they're not pieces that would be too big to be on a dirt road in 1/24 scale. So we're just gonna let this dry out here for a little bit. As I've said before, we did steal these blue flames from a AMT 34 Ford pickup truck kit. Other than that, a lot of the decals here, the small decals, were from a bunch of different kits. This is why you always want to keep the decals from all your smaller kits, because all these little decals, and nobody likes decals more than kids and race car drivers for all their stuff. And as you can see, we did a little bit of weathering on the bed there. This kit also comes with two, well, they're plastic, but there are two aluminum ramps that would fit right here in the middle, right in there. But the one issue with this kit, it does not have a hinged hood, so you have to decide, because there's no way for that hood to just sit there like that. So you can have the hood off, you can have the hood on, but there is no hinges for it. If we look inside, you can see it's got a really nice detailed dashboard. It does come with these two white wall drag slicks to sit up there. And as you can see here, I stole and put a dartboard, a stolen yield sign on here. But as you can see, we just kind of put some grease marks and some worn marks on the diamond plate where it would have worn off over time. So there we go. Nothing moves on it. I didn't do any doors that move. Let's turn it around here real quick. We can spin this around. It is not on the base permanently. All right, here's the drinker side. So we've got the not for hire sticker on there. We've got all this kind of stuff that came with it. Ford racing team. And it's just a really, really cool, but very, very big kit here. So this thing is probably about 16, 17 inches long. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I loved building it. I also show you how to build the base if you're interested in doing that. And so here is our Ford race car hauler. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great afternoon.
Till I get up